Welcome back, everybody. Time to pick the Lake Fork Bassmaster Fantasy Fishing Team. Should be a really exciting tournament. A lot of big bags going to be brought in this one. We'll get to tiebreaker later, but definitely over 100 pounds. You could see 5 to 10 guys over 100 pounds. Wouldn't be shocking. So probably not, but it's that type of play. So a really fun one to pick. Let's dive right in and get this one going. In bucket A on this one, a lot of really good anglers here. Obviously at this point in the season, we're all pretty high in the AOY standings. So you got guys like Will Davis Jr. fishing really well right now. He was 18th here last year. Certainly could see him do very well again. The one thing with that last year's tournament, not that we're going to throw it out, but it was much earlier in the season in February. Previous tournaments in 22, 21, and 19 were in April and May, a little more similar from a weather standpoint. And then we also have included here 2020, which was in November, so quite a bit different there as well. With that said, let's keep going down the list. Takuito's got a top 10 here in April. Kyoyo Fujita, certainly somebody that could do well, fishing really well, and this kind of matches up with the style of fishing that he excels at. Chris Johnston in this one, a Johnston brother is rarely a poor decision in fantasy. Shane LaHue was 4th the last time we were here in May, good option there. Bill Lowen having a great season. He once again was top 10 in 2022 when we were here. Paul Marks coming off that win at Hartwell. There's just a really, really good bunch of anglers here. Jay Jakurat fishing really well, and he's, style-wise, this is a type of tournament where he should probably do well again. He did have that 74th in 22 here, which is a little concerning, but those first couple years on the Elite Series, it felt like he kind of struggled to settle in. He really has done that, and he's fishing really well right now. So it's not a super concern for me. But ultimately, I kind of broke this down in 4 guys that are really hard to move away from, and I will pare it down. But 2 guys I really, really wanted to pick. Patrick Walters, not just because I've picked him every single tournament this year, but his history on Fork, really strong. He's got a 1st, a 2nd, a 12th. His worst 2 tournaments, unfortunately, were the May tournaments, but 29th and 34th. So he really hasn't had a bad finish here. And he's competed towards the top 10 in 3 of those, and only 5.1% picking him. So really strong option there. Another guy, Seth Feider. 0.8% have picked Seth Feider right now. 12th, 11th, and 6th in those first 3 tournaments here. He has struggled a little in the last 2 with a 25th and a 41st, but not a bad finish by any means. So I was really tempted to take one of those guys, but we're going to learn a little lesson from Hartwell. I kind of swung for the fences a little bit, took Blaylock over Fothergill, and that obviously hurt me a lot. That was one of my worst tournaments of the season. In fact, it might have been my worst. Moved me all the way down to the 94th percentile or something like that. So we're going to take a little learning lesson from that one. We're going to stick with a little more of a sure thing. And really for me, there's 2 of them here. Trey McKinney, Lee Livesey. Now, Lee Livesey is still getting 53%. If he would not have had last year's tournament on the books, he'd probably get about 98%. But that one left a sour taste in some folks' mouth. I think he actually had like 70-some% in that one and finished 82nd. But this time of year, on Fork, as good as they get, and he's fishing really well right now. I want to say he's like 5th in AOY, maybe 4th. He's right up there towards the top. So he's having a good season. Certainly looking to move himself up here. That being said, I'm taking Trey McKinney here. I just feel like he is, we'll say it, he's got that St. John's blemish. Outside of that, I think he's got 3 10s and an 11th. And this is certainly one that sets up well for how he fishes. He won it here a year ago. Basically, everything lines up for him to do well. If he doesn't do well, I will be frankly shocked with just the way he's been fishing and this being on Fork. Perfect recipe for him to do really, really well, maybe even win another one. So I'll take Trey McKinney in A. On the predictor side, 73 points, Lee Livesey. Not too surprising, he's won here twice. Trey McKinney close behind-ish, 63 and a quarter. So not too far behind. Not a nice score yet, just not quite the length of history that Livesey has. Into bucket B, fairly strong bucket. We got Corey Johnston in this one. Justin Hamner is fishing as well as anyone again, having a really nice season. He was 3rd here a year ago. Justin Atkins was 5th a year ago here, so he could do well. Kyle Patrick, in his only attempt on Fork, was top 10, so that certainly is a good sign. So some good options. me personally, it came down to Jordan Lee, Brandon Palaniuk. Jordan Lee, good anywhere we go. Maybe hasn't been as dominant as I expected him to be when he joined the Elite Series, but part of that is because some of these young anglers have been so talented coming in. They've kind of held him down, I feel like, but still expect him to do really well at this Fork tournament. He was 15th a year ago in February. Ultimately, though, I'm taking Palaniuk in this one. His record just speaks for itself here. He's gone 4th, 14th, 2nd, and 23rd. He's having a pretty good season, and I'm just not going to go away from this one. I feel pretty good about taking him. On the predictor side, they also like Palaniuk, 63.05 points, followed by Jordan Lee, 51.45. Predictor follows me totally on bucket B. Into bucket C. Another good group here, but not quite as much history, which is fairly common as you get down these, obviously. But Keith Combs, once thought to be the Texas King, has kind of struggled a little bit here as of late on the Elite Series. He had a 43rd and a 59th here in the last two April-May tournaments, which is concerning. Prior to that, a 7th and a 2nd in April or May and November ones in 19 and 20. So looked like a really strong pick at one point, has kind of struggled. I am going to go ahead and continue staying away from him. Tyler Rivette, 2nd when we were here last year. He's also got a 15th. Certainly got some good history here. Wesley Gore was 7th. Wesley Gore was 7th a year ago when we were here. Probably should have paid more attention to him, thought about him a little harder. One of the best anglers on the Elite Series right now, and he's got a top 10 here on Fork. Certainly a good option in this bucket. Ultimately for me, my decision came down to two guys, Tyler Williams and the guy I picked away from last tournament at Easton Fothergill. Williams has only fished the one tournament here on the Elite Series, but he was 4th. So obviously he was able to figure some things out on Fork here. I expect him to do well again. Ultimately, though, I'm just not going to pick against Fothergill again. He's fishing really well. He's, I don't remember what he finished at Hartwell, but he's got to have 3 top 10s in a row, including a Classic win. So he is essentially Trey McKinney Jr. to me at this point, where no matter where we go, he's going to have a chance to do really well. Just too skilled an angler, really coming on strong. I expect him, despite the slow finish, to finish pretty high in the AOY standings. I think he's too far behind to compete for a win, but we'll see. You never know what could happen. But anyway, I am taking Fothergill in bucket C. On the predictor side, predictor will go with two guys that I probably didn't talk about enough here. JT Tompkins, rookie last year, 13th here. That February tournament here was just a crazy pileup of the rookies. Really did well here. He is probably going to do well here again, and he's only picked by 1.7%, so a good option there. And then Cooper Gallant, another guy that this style-wise is going to set up really well for him, and he was 10th here a year ago. He was 2nd on the predictor with 41.65 points. Down into bucket D, another fairly strong one. We've got Stetson Blaylock, who struggled for me last tournament at Hartwell, but does have a 6th here last year and also had a top 10 in that November tournament back in 2020. He has struggled a little bit more in the spring tournaments or the later spring tournaments, 16th, 26th, and 65th, but not bad. Certainly a good option in this one. Brandon Cobb, who won this back in 2019, but has since struggled a little bit with a couple of 63rd and 64th finishes in there. Jonathan Kelly, up and down, had a 19th last year, but was 86th and 22. Mark Menendez had a good finish in 22. Gerald Swindle is in this one. He had a top 3 in that 22 tournament in May, but he's also got a 93rd on his record last year in February, so hard to say what you're going to get there. Ultimately, for me, it's two guys, Matty Wong, Ben Milliken. Matty Wong because we've got a little more history. He's got an 11th and a 23rd. Certainly like that he's put back-to-back nice tournaments together, and he's having a little bit better season this year, I feel like. I feel like he's finally kind of settling into the Elite Series, maybe. And then Ben Milliken. You love him or you hate him. He was 8th here a year ago. He's a Texas guy. Picked by a large percentage. He's got 49.4%, so certainly not alone, but I am going to take Ben Milliken in bucket D. On the predictor side, 67.7 is the score for Milliken. Pretty high. I think that's the second highest in this tournament. And Matty Wong's second at 45.65. And finally, we'll move into E. Another one with some good options. Brandon Card leads the way here, a couple top 5s. He also has a 41st, 49th, and 84th, so a little up and down. Greg Hackney having some decent history here, a 38th, a 13th, and a 39th, so not too bad. If you could take any of those finishes out of E, it's probably okay. Paul Mueller has a couple of good back-to-back finishes here at 12th and 20th. Chad Pipkins has done well here, 8th, 18th, and 19th in a few tournaments. He also has a 78th, though, last year, a little bit more concerning. Ultimately, for me, it was Hackney or Zaldain, but I didn't spend too much time on this one. I feel like Zaldain's history here, the fact that he's a Texas guy in Bucket E, I will take a guy that has gone in 5 separate tournaments, has done well here, 13th, 13th, 5th, 40th, and 36th. If there is a concern, it's that the 2 most recent tournaments have been his 2 worst. So we're hoping he can reverse that, get back to his, top 13 type ways. But I will roll the dice on Zaldain and Bucket E. On the predictor side, it is also Zaldain, 68.65 points, and Hackney at 37.95. So once again, same here. And finally, let's do tiebreaker. Once again, my team for this one, McKinney, Pollock, Fothergill, Milliken, and Zaldain. My tiebreaker, and this is another one where I feel like I could be low on this. Based on historical tournaments, I am right around 116 pounds. Now, McKinney was higher than that last year when he won. I'm putting a little bit of that on being earlier in the year, February in Texas. However, it would not shock me to see us up over 120 pounds, even pushing 130 again if somebody really gets on them. So I am rolling with 116. If I was going to do anything, I would probably go higher, but that's where I'm at, based mostly on history. And with that, that'll finalize our picks for Lake Fork. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you have not, join us on Bassmaster Fantasy. The group is LJM Outdoors. And if you would, hit subscribe down below. Comment anything I missed, as always, because it does happen. And we will see you guys on the next one.